Hello race car fans and cartoon fans. This is a combination of both. It's the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans winner in the Mazda 787B. I did not know this was ever made in a cartoon form. It's possible this is brand new too because it's got this tape, but it's so old that the tape isn't very sticky anymore. Alright, let's get this blister out of the way. It's just loose on this cover. Alright, let's see what ChoroQ pulled off here. Focus on the model there. The toy. It's not even a model. Alright, well, there's the front view. And let's see how foreshortened it is. Roughly twice as short, I would say, than that photograph. Okay, rear view, I'm not expecting much because there's a big coin holder there. Okay. Alright, let's take a look here. First, how old is this thing? That's what I'm curious about. 2004, that 04 there. So we have a smoked base, and then this top is just clear plastic. But then they painted all this graphic stuff on it, that piece of clear plastic, which is what amazes me about these ChoroQs. I mean, this is some complex printing here. You know, orange, green, these dots, stripes, I mean, over it, like perfectly over those seams. So it's quite impressive, really, what Takara was able to do for this particular toy. Okay, and then you notice, even though this is pretty old, there really isn't a paint rash because the body is made of plastic and not die-cast zinc. So it's really good for longevity to use a stable material like whatever high-quality plastic they're using here. Alright, so number 55, we got all this sponsorship here. The wheels, of course, at least they're 5 spokes, but they're not quite as good looking as the real photograph. But they got, you know, they're kind of gold, so that's kind of good. I think it's funny, this whole bulbous canopy, you know, how it's so cartoon-like. Little fuel filler there, little vent detail there, a bunch of vents, you know, releasing pressure from the wheel wells. I think this is past the radiator, so that expels stuff. And then here, well, that's a really deep vent, actually. And then the clear plastic is showing here for the headlights, so it looks pretty good. You can actually see the motor gear right there through the cockpit. But really, it's this paint job. It's just quite amazing. You know, how well it's done. It's going into the crevices very nicely. You know, a die-cast car, if it was painted orange, you would probably see orange right here, you know. But here, you know, they're filling in all the cracks, the nooks and crannies. So, yeah, that's something to respect from this toy company. Okay, now, so this car is so iconic that I decided to 3D print my own wheels to make it look more like that photograph. So let's take this guy apart. See if there's anything special on the bottom, but I doubt it. Yeah, just a separate canopy, actually. Interesting. But the headlights are this clear plastic, like the body. Alright, I think they smoked the canopy to try to hide the motor a little bit better. Alright, so the motor's pretty simple to remove. Just this tab here, and that's what traps the front axle. This white residue doesn't really matter. You just wipe it off and the tire looks good again. So I'm going to reuse these tires. In fact, I'm going to reuse this whole drivetrain because since it's a race car, it's not going to have cambered wheels and stuff like the JDM Bosozoku style. So I'm just twisting and pulling. So that one came off. But very often you need pliers. So let me come back. Well, I'm back with the wheels, and I put them on the original motor and original axle. You know, I have a disc brake system back in there too. But the thing I don't like is the stance. Look at the gap, you know, the wheel well gap compared to the real race car. The real race car is a race car. It's super low with almost no suspension travel, right? So I think I'm going to have to remove it from the original motor and just use some sort of sticky tack putty. So let me come back. Okay, now we're talking. So yeah, this is a much better riding stance. It's as low as I could get it, was still having the wheels not cambered. You know, so the wheels are just parallel with the body work, like a real race car would be. And so I use this Patafix Pro. It's some sort of markless putty. It's great stuff. Alright, so let's take a look at a couple other vehicles. I have a 187 scale version of this by Spark Model, and it is absolutely fantastic. I've shown it a couple times in other videos. I don't have this in 164 because there's no 164 version that's going to touch this 187th version. Alright, so yeah, both of them are pretty good. I mean, they both execute the paint scheme very well. This is one of the most complex paint schemes I've seen on a race car. You know, most brands nowadays are just using decals, you know, and that's how they get such crazy paint schemes on their models. But I almost feel, well, I don't know. There are decals for the stripes on that Spark model, but the white dots on this, or the hatch marks, are actually painted. So it's actually very impressive. It's not decals. Again, it's bewildering. It blows my mind away. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. A couple other race cars I can show off here. I have this R34 Skyline, and I have an S15 Nissan Silvia. I have an NSX here. Okay, so these are all, you know, ChoroQs, and they put 3D printed wheels on all of them, so they don't have the standard 5-spoke wheels that, you know, come on most ChoroQs. Alright, so I guess it's time for this to spin on its own. Well, I am very happy to have discovered this one. I find that I just discover a lot of different ChoroQs. I didn't know they made these LMP cars. So I'm gonna have to look and see if they've made other ones, because I really like LMP racing. You know, I think it's the forefront of racing technology, more so than even Formula One, because F1 races don't last a long time. They're not endurance races, but LeMans prototype racing, you know, they're running for 24 hours, so that's why I find them more interesting than F1. Alright guys, well, thanks for taking the time to watch. I'll see you at the next bend. Bye.